Boys and girls,
Moms and dads,
we're the mixtapes. Again, in your face. Mixtapes in your face. That over there.
this is over here is Race. That's what they call me.
That thing over there. And this thing over here is Reid of Apes, and that's what I call me.
We're not thing 1 and thing 2. We're more like 28 and 37.
Right. Right.
Not ages. We're things 28 and 37.
We are not the originals, for sure. We are the mixtapes, and this is You Should Know This Song, and we are broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Wentzville at Race's Oasis.
It's the finest outdoor studio in central Wentzville.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely the finest outdoor studio here.
Yes, on my property. Yes, indeed. Well, me and the bank.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging around with us for a little while. We'll try, we keep agonizing over the fact that we sit down and we say, okay, let's try to hold it to 40 minutes. And we look at the timer and it's an hour and 20, but we can't figure out what to cut out. So we're going to do it again and see if it works out this way or that. And in the future, maybe we'll just have to do half episodes or something. Who knows?
Or you could let us know that they're too long or too short. You could tell us that so that we could quit agonizing over it.
Well, that's a good point. That's probably the most important point. If anybody out there cares to say, it's fine, just keep it that way. Or I would listen if they weren't an hour and a half long, you two goons.
Sometimes I have a good point, but usually if I wear a hat, no one sees it.
But
Yeah. All right, so we've got...
Shecky will be back next week, folks.
Yeah, try the lamb. Yeah. We've got 3 segments planned for this episode.
We do.
Our Prime Challenge, one that got us started, Prime Twist and Shout, where we pretty much ask Challenge E to provide the lyrics.
Yes.
And then Route 66, that musical...
Journey, musical adventure, musical family vacation car ride.
Thank you for bailing me out there. Yeah. But before we get to any of that, we do have some nest keeping to do.
Yeah.
Where we clean up the mistakes made in previous rounds. And if we don't mention it, it's because we haven't heard it yet.
Or we update, facts and information. I guess cleanup is the right word. But also we might throw something in there and God knows it's an opportunity to go off on a tangent. So
About an episode or 2 back, maybe 3 or 4, Reid had provided a challenge for John Mellencamp's Tumbling Down. And
correct.
Initially, I got nothing. I mean, I failed big time. But once he kind of helped me out a little bit, I provided some lyrics that Reid then said were not in the song.
So I failed myself.
So I went back and looked because I was sure, and I'm often sure, but I'm usually wrong when I'm sure. And in this case, I was right. The lyrics that I provided were, in fact, in the song. However, I had already missed the challenge. I want to make that clear.
I did that thing that you do, and I was like, no, I don't think that.
But you even actually went and looked.
Yes.
You just didn't go far enough down the lyric line.
I didn't go far enough down. I had the lyrics up, and I didn't look far enough down. I didn't notice them. So the correct lyric was the words obnoxious and lazy, no damn good, etc.
Right. But in that one, he's referencing himself. Right.
Himself.
Yes.
People say I'm no damn good, obnoxious and lazy. My opinion means nothing. So that is the correct lyric, and obnoxious and lazy was in there, and so forth. So my apologies to Race, public apology.
And I'm not forgiving you for this.
And I'm humiliated and should be.
And then
cast out of Apes land.
Agreed. We talked about the song Big Yellow Taxi, but we called it Paved Paradise. We referenced both the Counting Crows and the Joni Mitchell version.
Right.
And you went off a bit about how some people thought that some originally said that the Counting Crows were disrespecting her by doing it.
Counting Crows got some
criticism.
Criticizing. Yes.
And by the way, when I was putting together the playlist for that episode, I had forgotten how kind of their version is way different from her version.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of cool.
It's their own version.
Yeah,
it's what I sort of appreciate about people doing a cover and putting their own
spin on it. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't like the cover, but I appreciate the fact that they try to own it,
I had not heard it in a while, and it was just kind of the way that the song starts off even. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this. This was a cool tune.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Anyway, that's corrected. The song is Big Yellow Taxi.
Yeah. I think we were probably caught up with talking about the clue and whatever. Mm-hmm. And weren't paying attention to that, but it's good to be correct. It's the most important. Okay, and also Wayne brought up listening to a Doja Cat. We had Wayne on as a guest a few episodes ago. Our buddy Wayne of Apes, and he brought up. We don't need to go into the entire conversation, but having listened to a Doja Cat song and was like, it's totally out of Wayne's wheelhouse musically. Right. But he was
And he
like,
dug it.
this is kind of a cool song, and he added it to his playlist and whatever. It ended up sort of tainting his playlist, which is kind of funny. But I brought up being familiar with a few of Doja Cat's songs, and some of you out there are right now like, what are you doing talking about Doja Cat on this show and whatever?
Right.
You know, it's about whatever it's about when it comes up. So sorry. And I referenced the fact that Big Mama Thornton Hound Dog is heavily referenced in her song, and I referenced Hound Dog
As the name of the
as
song.
possibly the name of the song, but the name of the song is Vegas, and it's from the more recent Elvis Presley movie. Mm-hmm. But it's on the soundtrack. So, correction on the actual name of Doja Cat's song, Vegas.
And aren't you glad that we don't add songs that are in the corrections to the playlist so that they end up again?
Right.
And in case you didn't get from that, we have playlists. Did you know?
Hey, playlist, baby. Playlist.
Every song that gets specifically mentioned, and if more than one artist is mentioned, both versions go in.
Yes.
Is ending up in a playlist, and those playlists are available generally in a link on most of your podcasts applications, also on our website, and available.
Most readily available on YouTube. If you hit our stuff on YouTube, you will see all the playlists splayed out just like APEisodes.
And you can get directly to it by going to youtube.com/@mixtapes, that's with a Z, /playlists. And you can get directly to the playlists there. And there's one for every episode now. So,
but if you do that, you bypass all this entertainment and wonderful content and commentary. So,
or you just get to listen to the cool music without having to listen to us.
Yeah,
That's
thanks
the other
for
side
supporting me there, big guy.
Oh, I'm on your team, but I know how we are.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, so that being said, do we have any more nest keeping for this week's
I don't
episode?
think there's anything else hanging around right now for that stuff. I think the nest is clean, so
All right.
invite everybody in to
would
sit
you please
down
just
and
pick up your socks once in a while.
Can you imagine apes with white tube socks with like two stripes at the top?
Yeah, but they have to be toe socks, though, too. Okay, we need to stop.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I think we're going to jump right into our first segment, Prime. Does that work for you, Mr. Reid?
Jump right in. I'm doing the Urge.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, it's
Local
an Urge.
band.
It's an Urge song. Sorry, it popped into my head. Okay, yes, let's get rolling with some Prime. Who's starting? Want to toss a coin? You want to?
No, you know what? You start.
Such a generous apes. I mean, folks, just look at this guy. No,
really
just
don't.
listen.
I have a face for radio.
Just listen. Okay, I think you should know this song, Race of Apes. I think that's just going to give it to you right away.
She gets the sun in the daytime, perfume in the dusk.
Ooh, I thought that one would just
jump? No.
knock right out of the park for you.
She gets the sun in the daytime, pure perfume in the dusk. What's the next line?
Ooh, then this next line might also not give it to you. Here is clue number 2.
And she comes out in the nighttime with the honeysuckle musk. Wow, why do I? I'm not going to spend any time.
She says, boys don't know anything.
What is this?
I have trouble with my breathing. She says, boys don't know anything. But I know what I want. She Was Made in Heaven by Dire Straits.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I want to please her. I want everything. She was made in heaven. Heaven's in the world. That is
Okay.
off of Making Movies. That's one of mine. You just pulled one of mine right there. That's a song on an album that you have listened to a zillion
bunch of
times, and you're like, why isn't that coming into my head?
And it's still not.
It's just not on the frequency.
But it will be on the playlist, and then I will know it.
It's a really, really cool song. It's Dire Straits from 1980. I mentioned the album, but I didn't mention who wrote it. You want to give that a shot? Maybe get a win out of that?
I don't know. Could it be that one guy that always writes all of their songs?
Yeah, Mark Knopfler wrote it, baby. There's your first. And
first
and I
miss.
got to say, I'm not complaining. I'm simply making note of the fact that we have referenced some Dire Straits on this show.
Oh, yeah.
And we've certainly referenced that album
Many times.
on this show, and fully deserving. But it's had some. So if you don't know it, as far as our advice goes, go know it. The album, not just the song you're going to hear on the playlist. It's
absolutely.
really good through and through. Okay, what do you got?
All right, so for you, sir, you should definitely know this song.
Let's see about that. I'll see if I know this song. Don't try to tell me what to do. My friend says we're like the dinosaurs, only we are doing ourselves in much faster than they ever did. We'll make great pets by our friends in
Oh, you almost...
Jane's Addiction. I almost said Alice in Chains. Oh, is it Wait a minute. It's
not Jane's
Perry
Addiction.
Farrell and what was the name of that group? Oh, it just went into my head and ran out. Come back here, you. Oh my.
The album, the
something
songwriter, artist are all the same.
What's the name?
Porno for Pyros. I can't say it, but I can't say much at the moment. 1993.
I had Tears for Fears, and I had something else
Yeah,
jump into my
what the
head, but I
hell is-
couldn't get Porno for Pyros.
All songs on the album are listed by written as Porno for Pyros. There's no specific
Writer,
writer names.
songwriter.
However, they also show produced by Perry Farrell and Matt Hyde. So that's the reference note that I had for that. That was one that just kind
Such a
of.
cool song.
It's a cool album. It's just
Yeah.
I hadn't heard it in a while. It popped up. I'm like, oh man, it's like one of those things that you forget that you like.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All the
and how
time.
can you forget that you like it?
Yeah, and then you're like, how do I fit this into listening to all the things I've forgotten that I like? Because now you got a pile of them.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for that. That'll be
Speaking
on
of
the
piles,
playlist.
it's your turn. Sorry.
That was a good
just
one.
there.
That was a good one. I left it out there for you. Okay, Race of Apes, you had better know this song. Here's your lyric clue.
I'm moving through some changes. I'll never be the same.
All right, try this.
Something you to touch me. There's no one else to blame. Why don't I know this?
I'm pretty sure you know this song. This song actually had a lot of radio airplay for a band that has had a long career and started in very, like, the fusion rock band. Like, the psychedelic fusion rock band.
What is it?
It's Yes Changes from 1983 off of 90125. Yeah.
That album. What's the one song on there that going for the ones on that album? Isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Hold on, we're going to take a second because I thought Going for the One was an album. Yeah, Going for the One is an album.
Okay, so I'm wrong. I'll have to look and see what else is on that album because I know that my sister had that album and played it quite a bit. And I'm just trying to think of what else was there that I might have.
The songs were Owner of a Lonely Heart, It Can Happen, Hold On, Changes, of course, Our Song, Cinema,
No,
City of Love.
I mean obviously Owner of a Lonely Heart. You know, who doesn't know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but not amazed.
Okay, so that was Yes, of course, with Changes from 1983 off of 90125. Alan White, John Anderson, and Trevor Rabin wrote that song together. And a great song it is, and a really great album, and I am a huge Yes fan. So there you have it. What you got?
I have one that
got?
I have here specifically because when I heard it, the lyrics made me think of you.
Oh, this is going to be an
You should definitely
insulting,
know this
demeaning hit smack in the face. The lyric I got is sitting here in a hired tuxedo. Give me another line. I should have known it from that. Next line is, you want to see my bacon torpedo? Oh my gosh.
I could not help myself. I'm sorry.
Sitting here in a hired tuxedo, you want to see my bacon torpedo?
It almost sounds like a.
It sounds like one of my freaking bean enchiladas.
It does sound like a bean enchilada, but it also sounds to me like it could be a Spinal Tap tune.
Yes.
But it's not.
But it's not. What is it? What is it?
It is "Eat the Rich" by MotorHead.
I don't really know much Motorhead. I know just a handful of Motorhead
and
songs.
I don't either. But when I heard this song, I'm like, I have
Sitting
to use
here in
this.
a hired tuxedo, you want to see my bacon torpedo?
And that's the very end of the song. This song, there are some lyrics in this song.
Well, Motorhead has some lyrics.
Yeah, and I'm sure that our more metal friends will appreciate it.
Well, hey Wayne, there's one for you, buddy.
So written by.
I do want to hear the rest of the lyrics, but you'll be able to hear them on the playlist now.
Yes, you will. And for those of you that have small children, just don't play it when they're around.
Right.
Phil Campbell, Wurzel, Lemmy, and Phil Taylor wrote that song. 1987, the album was Rock and Roll, and it was actually written for Peter Richardson's movie in 1987 film, Eat the Rich.
Oh, okay.
And there are a couple of there's at least one other Motorhead song in the soundtrack.
And the name of the song is also Eat the Rich?
Yes. The name of the song and the name of the movie. The album is Rock and Roll.
Rock and Roll. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that little
Nugget?
humorous tidbit. I mean, they're Motorhead. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Okay, you should know this song, brother.
I don't want to drag you down.
Little bit of a common application.
I'm gonna need a
lyric.
second.
Here is clue 2 for you.
Don't need a reason to have you around. Well, I'm not starting off this episode very well, but
It may be a little bit of a reach. I don't think it really is, but we've talked about how much both of us like this artist, this band, this person before, but neither one of us, I don't think either one of us has put a clue out in all of these episodes.
Okay, well, you got me. Who is it? I knew that was going to be what but if you mean the things you say.
Said is actually what it's supposed to be. So it's, I don't want to drag you down, don't need a reason to have you around, but if you mean the things you said, I'm going to wind up out of my head. Can't sleep, alone at night, just can't seem to get it right. Damned if I do, damned if I don't, but I love you by Alan Parsons Project. Damned if I do.
I just saw a really cool thing about about Alan Parsons.
Yeah.
Not the project, the person.
Right.
And we'll save that for another time, but like there's a recent interview
Yeah.
with him that maybe I'll...
Alan Parsons should be an episode. I mean,
Alan
he's one of
Parsons,
those things where you think, hey, could we do like a connections type, which we've talked about before, like a long episode on a subject that meanders through and is connected to so many things. He's one of those.
Well, for those of you that don't know,
one of many, admittedly, but
the main thing that he gets known for amongst his lesser fans is he was the producer on Dark Side of the Moon.
Right.
Okay,
But
there's so very
cow.
much more. He was a producer on a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And probably one of the premier electronic geniuses in the industry,
Yeah.
understanding the technology, as well as a great musician and a writer and so forth and so on.
it's surprising to me, although, that was the album Eve from 1979. The song was written by Alan Parsons and Eric Wolfson to get the propers out of the way. It was surprising to me when I really stopped in a consolidated way to think about all of the Alan Parsons songs I knew, which is a lot. I had 4 or 5 albums in the 70s and early 80s. Then I started thinking about, I always thought of Alan Parsons as being sort of undergroundy artist that me and others like us, rock friends who like to explore
Sure.
sort of the fringes-ish kind of thing. But then I was like, that guy had 12.5 songs all over the radio. If you start thinking about, and not just on rock radio,
Right.
if you start thinking about and look at his song list, the Alan Parsons Project song list, and then you look at the songs that you know from being on the radio, it is crazy.
Yeah.
And he's just kind
There's
of
no underground about it.
He's not in the front of your mind. You know what I mean? The Alan Parsons Project doesn't come front of mind, but they were a pretty big band. I loved them all the way through, and that's a great song and a great album, and they have several great albums. There you go. That's it for me on that one, and 2 more each. Warning.
Oh yeah, you're limiting me. You're limiting me, and I don't like it.
Actually, 2 more for you, 1 more for me.
Oh, nice. I win.
You win. What's happening?
You should know this song.
I should know. There's a man in New Orleans who plays rock and roll. I should know that song. Give me another clue. He's a guitar man with a great big soul. You have stumped me. There's a man in New Orleans who plays rock and roll. He's a guitar man with a great big soul.
And he goes by the name of King Creole.
Don't know if I know this song.
It's an Elvis Presley song and movie, and it's actually a really good
King
movie.
Creole, really?
King Creole, yeah. Elvis Presley doesn't just sing in this one.
Right.
It was very early in his film career. He actually acts, and he's pretty good in it.
I remember the movie
And
King
there's a
Creole.
bunch
I remember
of-
seeing...
There are a handful of other real stars in it. It's a real movie, and it's a good movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's the song itself is a Lieber and Stoller song, 1958. Supposedly, it was Presley's favorite role that he played. He plays an up-and-coming musician,
Sure.
working as a busboy. There's gangsters and malls and the whole 9 yards.
And hot chicks, baby, hot chicks. Of course.
Of course. So,
Were there also race cars and that kind of thing? What year?
1958 was when the song was written.
I
So,
was gonna.
yeah,
I was thinking it was
it's
early '60s, but yeah.
no, it's before the plethora of Presley movies that were just vehicles for
Viva
albums.
Las Vegas.
Well before that.
Yeah.
If you don't know the song, it's going to be in the playlist. But if you get a chance to watch the movie, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be worth checking out.
It's not just a Presley movie.
I've never been a big Elvis fanatic, you know what I mean? But there are definitely things of his pieces of his material that I appreciate.
We watched the comeback special, the 1968. It's him all in black leather, just Elvis on the side. It was really fun. It was. I mean, we watched it as a family. You know, I was 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
And it was on network TV back when that was all there was network TV.
Network TV.
You know, when you kids didn't know, and it was pretty cool. Like there were some very genuine moments in it. He was really kind of goofy and silly, having a little fun with it.
Right.
And he had kind of, the Beatles had come along, and he wasn't having the popularity that he'd had.
Yeah.
And he really just kind of, quote unquote, let his hair down a little bit. And there were a couple of really intimate moments, him sitting in the middle of the audience with the Jordanaires, just like four guys on a little platform. And he's kind of joking with the folks in the audience and having a good time. And you got to see like a little bit of, oh, Elvis is pretty cool as a guy.
The human as opposed to
absolutely.
the star.
Yeah. Anyway,
figure.
King Creole, your turn.
Okay, my turn. Me. You better.
You bet.
You better know this song
I
off of
just-
the first lyric, and I heard that, by the way.
Live, baby, live, baby, live, now that the day is over. Now that the day is over.
You know it. It's in
It's
your
in
head.
excess.
Yes, it is. You're right.
New sensation.
Wow, nicely played.
Well, the
done.
guy was playing. He played it fast
Yeah,
forward
you had to
for
play
me.
it through.
He played it fast forward for me, which he never does.
I was going to say he's going through all the lyrics. right
1981?
now. No, you just pulled a Reid. Woo, 1987.
Wow.
Yeah, that was off the album Kick, written by Andrew Ferris and Michael Hutchins. The song's New Sensation. You know, folks, I can just tell you right now that, I don't know, I guess I don't know another way to say it. If I'm pulling these songs out, naming the album, and I say, it's a great album, it's a great album.
That's a great album.
Kick
That
is
is a great
album. Shabu Shuba is a great album. I mean, they have a great number of great albums, and a lot of these artists do. So, kind of apologize for constantly saying that, but I get a kick out of thinking about the album Kick.
See, and when you said I get a kick, and I'm not going to add this into the playlist. I get no kick from champagne.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, my brain went back to 1963.
Well, add it into the playlist. That's what it's about.
All right.
Let's bop that stuff around.
So
okay,
let's see here.
last clue. It's yours.
my last
Better make
one.
it a good one.
I'm looking around here to see what I can find.
At least the ones I missed so far, most of them, I don't feel too bad about. They're not things that I am familiar with. Not that I shouldn't. I should know those songs, but
You should know
they're
this
at
song.
least not songs I'm really familiar with, and I'm like, can't figure it out. Okay, my lyric clue is, to have you with me, I would swim the seven seas. Yeah, I know the song. Give me another lyric. I need you as my guide and my light.
You got it.
Love is a flame that burns in your name. We'll be together. We'll be together tonight. Sting. Together.
Yes, and that's him,
really-
not them. That's him, his own.
The Sting.
Yes.
The
guy, not the band.
right. The guy, not the band.
Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner, obviously Sting.
Yes.
1987, Nothing Like the Sun.
I had that album. Played a hole in it.
Okay, Sting wrote the song for a beer commercial for Kirin Brewery in Japan.
Really?
He said that they asked him for the word together to be included in the song. He wrote the song in a few minutes and said both the Japanese and the producers liked it so much, despite the short amount of time it took to come up with. The original song actually included Clapton on guitar,
Oh, really?
but the recording or other takes include Brian Lauren instead.
Wow, that's a cool song, and that is
Beer commercial.
it's a beer commercial, and it's it's one of those striking little bits of trivia that just rattles my brain. To think that he came up with it real quick, he just sort of, okay, here you go, psst, and he just sort of threw that out there. Go listen. You'll listen to that song on the soundtrack.
Right.
The lyrics aren't stupid.
No,
It's not
and it's a well put together tune.
I was going to say, it's got good structure. It's a cool freaking song. It's got a great riff. The vocal performance, the lyrical melody is really good. And he was like, he should be embarrassed of how talented he is. That's what it is. He should be humiliated at being talented enough to be able to go, here you go. Here's a really great song that I'm able to just
Zip out.
right.
All right.
Pluck out a hair and it'll be a strand of gold.
Well, that's the end of
complete
Prime.
envy and jealousy, right
And
there.
I heard that. I kind of got that. I was
in its
actually
fullness.
trying to segue
Trying
out
to get
so that
off
you-
before I
so-
start
before you started
throwing
embarrassing
things.
yourself. Yeah, that was Prime. And it is done. Wow, we actually got through that one relatively
Not
quick.
too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
We did okay.
We still have time to fuck it up. We are moving on to Twist and Shout.
Yes, sir.
The,
Yes, sir.
Almost the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Opposite. I said opposite.
And with all the emphasis of, was that like a Chicago opposite?
Opposite.
Opposite. Yeah. So in a reverse-ish of Prime, we name a song, and the other person has to say
Tell
some
the
lyrics. Say they know the artist.
All right,
say
I am going
some
to
things about it.
I'm going to start this one. I know I started the last one, but I'm going to start this one.
This is verbally delivered.
Yes.
Yes, no reason to
Because you can't.
text.
There's no point in texting the name of the song.
No point.
This one is a laydown, and I am doing this one as a favor to you because you want it on the playlist.
Oh, okay. This is certainly going to be humiliating.
You should know the lyrics to "I'm Ready" by Humble Pie.
Oh my gosh. I'm ready for you. I hope. Yeah, you're ready for me. Drank some TNT. Oh my gosh. I have to know more than that. Can I sing? Can I say some of the words of the live lead in to the song that's 3 minutes long?
No.
I'm not coming up with anything.
Okay, so ate some dynamite. I hope find somebody that's ready to fight.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. That
anyway.
is a great old blues song.
It's a Willie Dixon tune.
Willie Dixon.
We've done our
blues
Willie
song.
Dixon rants and raves before.
Rundown.
We are specifically referencing the live version from
Live
Rockin'
Fillmore,
the Fillmore.
The album is
Rockin' the Fillmore.
live performance.
Rockin'
The word performance
Yes.
is in there. Fillmore East. Yeah.
1970 was when the song came out by Humble Pie. 1971 is when the Lives album came out.
Yes.
So we will play the live version on the playlist, and we will be playing Willie Dixon's version as well.
And for those of you, yes, both deserve to be played, and many more actually of that song deserve to be played. But for those of you who are or aren't familiar with Humble Pie and maybe haven't heard in a while,
Yeah.
if you're a little more into, like, to me, that show and that album, I had both albums and just consumed them. The power of that band's live performance on those albums in that setting was just, I mean,
I think it's one of those where the artists are walking off like their hair's all sweated through.
yeah, they just they just put it all down.
Yeah, and if you were in the house and saw that show, you'd
You
go
were
home
probably
tired.
exhausted
Exactly,
afterward.
yeah,
Right, you were
yeah.
probably exhausted. Like, it's borderline, it's hard rock for sure.
Oh yeah.
And borderline metal, although I don't know that really could be applied, but it is just really powerful.
But most of their stuff was really all blues based.
Bone crunching is the term that I used earlier, and I think it's adequate. Bone crunching blues rock, just
Yeah.
powered up. It's
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
And Steve Marriott, and you've referenced before how big a fan you are, but like he was and I say was, meaning during the Humble Pie days, not like isn't anymore, or I don't know if he's even still alive. I have no idea.
I believe you.
A phenomenal vocalist, like a really
gosh,
broad stage. And
really
this is where
exceptional.
Frampton came from, by the way, kids. Mm-hmm. In case you didn't know that.
Peter Frampton came
This
out of
is-
Humble Pie, and you can hear on this cut, if you don't listen to anything more on this cut, Frampton doing some, like, you think of "Ooh Baby, I Love Your Way" and all that. Well, he is playing in a rock out,
Yeah.
deafening rock band,
Right.
jam band here, and it's pretty interesting to hear the juxtaposition.
All right. So that was a little gift for you there, dude.
Yeah, that was fun, and fun to have it ringing in my
We
head.
were
And I mean ringing.
honestly, we were talking about the song before the episode, and he was just ranting and raving. Actually, stopped to play me something off of the on his phone, from that. Just and I guess like you said, there's a 3-minute intro that's just Steve Marriott and the guitar.
Yeah.
and he's talking to the crowd.
Right. When you hear it, if you're not familiar, or even if you are, the thought that occurred to me is that nobody does that anymore. And I don't know that a lot of people did it in the first place, but it was 3 minutes of Steve Marriott singing with all of his guts what a lot of performers
Would be doing talking to the crowd.
would be doing, talking. And they might be talking with, "How you feeling out there?" But he was like, "How you feeling?"
Yeah.
Just doing that Steve Marriott thing, and the drums and the guitar playing along, and the guitarist doing solo work to try to match his vocals.
Yeah.
It is electrifying. And for 3 minutes before they start the song, and the crowd is completely thrilled with it. I get worked up because I think it's valid to still be done. You know what I mean? It should still be done.
Well, you see it like you don't see on that level, but you see it with blues acts.
Yeah.
More often than I remember seeing it with rock
Yeah,
and roll acts
absolutely.
currently.
Okay, wow, that was a little bit of a tangent, but thank you for it.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed it, and hopefully somebody out there enjoyed it too. How about if you give me some lyrics and the artist to Redneck Friend?
Well, honey, can I introduce you to my redneck friend? See, now that's
Which
gonna,
you hear this song rolling around in your head, and you're like,
that's
I can
gonna
see
be-
the smile on your face.
Yeah. Jackson Brown,
Yes.
and I can hear the song, but I'm having a hard time coming up with the
I'll
lyrics now.
clue you in with a starting lines. Pretty little one. Pretty little one.
Yeah. No,
It's got a great slide guitar part. The lyrics are really cool. It's a
We're gonna-
rockin' and reelin'.
We're gonna rock the house and something.
Honey, you shake and I'll rattle, and we can roll on down the line.
Yeah.
Try to swing you up into the saddle. So that's Jackson.
Honey, you shake.
And I'll rattle.
We'll
we can
roll on down the line. Yeah. And he's talking about having a good time going to a party is what he's talking about.
Yeah, they got a little list of all those things of which they don't approve. They got to keep their eyes on you because you might make your move.
So yes, I know the song. Unfortunately, right now I didn't know any of the lyrics.
It didn't come up.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
It's a really kind of way more rockin' than Jackson Browne usually does.
Way more rockin', and because of the way it's put together, it's not my favorite Jackson Browne song. Like, I don't appreciate it as being like the best Jackson Browne song.
Oh, it's a good time though.
But as far as a Jackson Browne good time song,
he's having a good time singing it.
Yeah, it's way
absolutely.
out there. It's really a good song. Again, do you want to guess who wrote that?
Probably Jackson Browne.
Jackson Browne, 1973, the album For Every Man. And you're up to bat, Mr.
All right, you should
Race
know
of
some
Apes.
lyrics to I'm a Man by Chicago.
I'm a Man by Chicago.
And yes, you do know the song, whether you're thinking about it or not.
The tune is not coming into my head. Hold on. Give me a minute.
If I said I'm a Man by the Spencer Davis Group, would that pop into your head?
Yes, kind of. I know this song. Joe Jackson's I'm the Man is crowding out my thoughts. Just crowding out my thoughts. I cannot get around the Joe Jackson thing. I'm completely stuck.
Well, my daddy says I'm messy about the whiskers on my chin. Never had no problems because I've always paid my rent. You know that song.
Yes. I'm the man, yes I'm a man, yes I am, and I love you so. Yeah. Now the song. Now it's in my head.
So I know that you're a Spencer Davis
and
a Steve Winwood fan.
Yes.
Okay, so
100%.
The other day I heard the Chicago version of this, and I hadn't heard it in probably 25 years. And this is like 1970, so Terry Kath and Pete Cetera, and it's like before adult contemporary Chicago. It's back when Chicago was back when Chicago was actually called Chicago Transit Authority. Before they were legally required to change their name by the actual Chicago Transit Authority, which is what the bus and train system in Chicago was called.
Yes.
At least it was then. Now it's something else. 1970, on the album, the Chicago Transit Authority. Horns, rockin', 4-part. They have 4 different piece percussion. You know, it was a Steve Winwood song written by Steve Winwood and Jimmy Miller, done when he was with the Spencer Davis Band. But for my money, this is a way better version of the tune.
What you mentioned, the percussion with the congas and all that going on in the background. And all that.
Yeah, and a 4 or 5 piece horn section, and they switch off the lyrics. They have like 4 singers in that band.
Yeah,
and Terry Kath was a guitarist and also one of the lead vocalists, and each verse is done by a different guy.
Right.
And they just fucking rock.
They made it huge. They made it huge.
You will love it when you hear the playlist. It is a great tune.
Really cool. Thank you. Okay, well, get your brain prepared because I think this might be a mind bender here. This is kind of I really feel like you should, but I don't think it's in your wheelhouse. Like, I don't think you have a great appreciation for this artist, so you probably didn't pay attention to it. But because the song was ubiquitous, it seems to me like probably some lyrics should be in your head. It's a song Far Behind by, and I'm going to give you the band, Candlebox.
I may very well know it, but not know it by name, so I'm going to say no. What do you got?
Now maybe, didn't mean to treat you bad, but I did anyway. You remember that song?
Yes, I know the song.
The song was just everywhere for several years.
And somewhere. Yeah.
Didn't mean to treat you all so bad, but I did. You left me far behind. Yeah, that whole thing.
Baby,
the part of the reason for knowing about that, the bird is back.
Yeah, well.
The bird's back. I've done something to spark his ire or her.
Maybe he's not a Candlebox fan.
Yeah, really. That's crap. 1993, off of the album Candlebox, their first album. Kevin Colin Martin, Scott Mercado, Peter Andrew Klett, and Bardi David Martin. If you don't know, it's worth taking a minute to go, whether you like Candlebox or not, it's worth taking a minute to go
a little deeper on them.
Just Google their first album and sort of how it came to be. It's a really interesting story. It's one of those few instances where a brand new artist did their first album, like in their own studio, on their own terms, real quick, in their own time. I don't want to say threw it together, but as I understand it and understood, the story was like on the radio, on the rock and roll news station. Sure. You know what I'm saying? The album was taken by the record company like as is.
Really?
They were like, great job. We'll take it. You know what I mean?
That's so unusual.
Yeah, it's super, super cool kind of story.
Somebody just hit the zeitgeist just right. And
Yeah. Okay, next for you will be what for me?
I have several that I really want to play with here, but you should know some lyrics to Born for Adventure.
Born for Adventure, not Born to Wonder. Born for Adventure.
By
who?
Styx.
That's not ringing a bell at all. It's a Styx song. Of what album?
Equinox. He's like, I know that album.
I played
the hell out of
it.
Yeah.
I think I actually had to buy a new one.
It's
Born for
It's
Adventure.
pure Dennis DeYoung.
I do not. I'm not
I
getting the
am
slightest
the thief
hint.
of the highway. Rich man, you better take hold.
Yeah.
Last night while you lie sleeping,
No,
I came
I know. I
to steal
remember.
all your gold.
I do remember it now that you're saying it, but no, I don't know that. I didn't play a hole in that track. Put it that way.
It was
But I'm
probably a
hearing
second song or something. You
I'm
know?
hearing it now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely pure Dennis DeYoung. It's chivalric
Right.
adventures. Got to sing with a British accent kind of thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Over dramatic.
Yeah.
But it's
it's
got
funny,
a very cool bass line. It's very well done. This is before Tommy Shaw. So
Right. Yeah.
he wouldn't come to the next album.
That is great. That's a great memory. I'm seeing the album cover in my head and all that stuff, and now I'm hearing different tracks off the album. And
The album
damn,
cover was a burning block of ice.
Burning block of ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Wow. That was a real mind bender for me. I mean, that was disorienting.
You okay there?
Okay, yeah.
Do we need to take a moment? He's a little old. Guys. He might.
I'm feeling peaked.
Okay then.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go.
You should know some lyrics to the song Breakdown.
Go ahead and give it to me. Are you talking about?
I wanted to leave that open to see if it would.
Yeah.
If that's what would
Take
hit
me
your head.
now through the middle of the night.
Breakdown.
Honey, can't you see? Breakdown, it's all right.
It's all right.
And that's just the chorus.
It's all right. It's all right if you love me. It's all right if you don't. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want.
I'm not
Oh,
afraid
those-
of you running away. Honey,
Right,
I get the
honey,
feeling
I get
you
the
won't.
feeling you won't. Tom Petty, written by Tom Petty from 1976, off of the album of the same name, Breakdown.
My brother's band did a version. My brother's passed.
Yeah.
But he did a version of that. He started out as the drummer and ended up as the lead singer. He's a good drummer, but a better lead singer, and definitely a great frontman.
Nice.
And they did a version of that, and it was like the one the women loved,
Oh,
the one
yeah.
the girls that came to see him.
It's that gaboom.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. And you kind of, it's all right if you
thick,
love me.
right? That thick tempo that it's got.
All right.
Give me one.
All right. You should definitely know all of the lyrics to Low Spark of High Heeled Boys.
Bum, bum. Yeah. There we go again. It flashes into your head, and the only thing you can think to say is, "What a great song." I mean, I wish I had some other expression, but your brain is just like, "Zling, that's a great song." If you see something that looks like a star, one of my favorite parts of the song, and it's shooting up out of the ground, and your head is spinning from a loud guitar.
Yes.
I mean, what is he talking about there? Don't worry too much, it'll happen to you. We were children once playing with toys. Yeah.
So, 1971, album by the same name, written by Jim Capaldi and Steve Winwood, who were Traffic largely.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And here's the thing about the song. First off, that song is not a rock and roll song, only because that song is straight jazz.
Well, I agree 100%.
And I'm not taking anything away from it, but I mean,
Steve Winwood has a lot of jazz too.
Yeah, but I mean, and Traffic did a really esoteric.
They did a wide.
They were
range
all
of
over the
shit.
place, right?
Yeah, I love.
But this song,
because of that.
this song is pure jazz.
Right.
The saxophone is amazing. It's got that thing that you love, that ethereal background keyboard that just kind of fades in and out. And you're like, why do I love that? You've talked about it several times.
Yeah.
That's a piece of this song.
And the saxophone is pure jazz. Is like the reason I want to stop and comment on this is because there are things in the music that you have trapped in your head that instantly reference themselves in full. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. And that saxophone solo is off tempo and it's very jazz alt.
In a jazz key kind of thing.
In a jazz key, and it's all, it's a mix up, noisy. What am I thinking of? Progressive jazz.
Yes.
It's a kind of a progressive jazz.
Even the keyboards.
Sax
The keyboards
solo.
are a very jazz. It's a very jazz
Absolutely.
tempo and structure.
But that whole sax solo, I could hum it note for note. It's stuck in my head and I hear it fresh every time. It's great.
And I saw a bunch of stuff about what is this song about? What is this song about? And most of the references are like it's drugs, it's a speedball, it's
Right.
And actually, there was someone that I want to say he was a producer or a A&R man or somebody that worked with the band regularly. That like him and Jim Capaldi were sitting up all night talking about music, and then the guy had to leave and go out of town or whatever. And he just wrote a note and hey, thanks for a good time, blah, blah, blah. And put just wrote Low Spark of How You Boys on it. And they hadn't referenced it or anything.
Triggered.
But it just that became a thing.
Right.
And the lyrics are all over the place. And it's really, I don't know that anybody really knows what it's about. I don't get the drug vibe, but it was 1971.
Other than they were probably high and, write some, you think of Beck.
Yeah.
More recently, disconnected lyrics that still work.
Yeah.
Nonsensical stuff, but for some reason you're like, that's the way that those lyrics should be to fit that song. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love it.
Good. How about...
and the only other thing that I'll
go ahead.
Add in there is, for whatever reason, a couple months ago, researching a different clue I gave you on a traffic song, I came across a video of, more recently, I would say, the past 5 or 7 years, Steve Winwood performing the song. I'm going to call it acoustic because it was just him and a piano.
Right.
It was one of the most enjoyable things I think I've ever watched. Like, I was just glued to it. He was just still feeling the vibe while he played it by himself, no other instrumentation, no backing up, singing, the lyrics with all the, he just still owned it. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's a great I'll use the word beautiful.
Everybody should know that song, pretty much.
For some reason or another, I agree 100%. Okay, for you, give me some lyrics to Train in Vain.
Will you stand by your man? Tell me something I don't understand.
Yeah.
You say you love me, but that's a lie.
There you go.
This is Clash?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Train in Vain, of course. Joe Strummer and Mick Jones wrote it from London Calling, 1980.
That's a great tune, by the way.
London Calling or Train in Vain? Both.
Yes.
Yeah. Annie Lennox. I don't think it was Eurythmics. I think it was Annie Lennox by herself did a version as well.
Really?
And it's a pretty good version. It got radio airplay.
I mean, it's Annie Lennox.
Yeah. It's a pretty good version.
She could sing the phone book.
But I do just narrowly prefer the Clash's version.
Yeah.
There you go. Go listen to it when it comes out on the playlist. Or go listen to it now. You don't have to wait. Just do what you want to do.
Just drive them away, please. Yeah. Give them permission to leave.
Okay, one more for you. Is this?
I started.
You started.
So I'll do one more and then you do one more.
Each.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. You should know, and I know you know this because you said something about this song in passing in a recent episode. You should know the lyrics to Space Age Sacrifice.
Space Age Sacrifice. I mentioned something about the lyrics in a recent episode.
Yeah, it was when you missed Rock the Nation. Space
Age Sacrifice, not Space Station Number 5.
Oh no, you're right. You did reference Space Station Number 5. You did, and that's off the first album. This is off the second album.
I'm like, what? How am I? Well, why can't I think of that anyway? I can't think of the song. Can't. It's not coming up at all.
Don't think twice. Space Age
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't listen to that much.
That's the Paper Money album.
Yeah.
That's Hager and Montrose, 1974.
Now it's starting to.
You should see his face. Like you could actually see the song popping into his head. It's pretty cool.
I'm starting to hear it. It's like beaming in from whatever planet.
Don't. Yep.
That's funny. That's 2 of those that have taken me on like a
completely different.
Like you could have walked away and got some coffee. I wouldn't know you were going. I'm like, you're sitting over here.
He was literally staring off into space.
My brain's like processing.
And his mouth was like working, but there were no sounds coming out.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Well, last one for this segment, please.
Last one. Give me some lyrics to One Headlight.
That's Dylan's boy.
Yes, Jacob Dylan. And the Wallflowers.
Wallflowers. One headlight. He does kind of seem like his dad, doesn't he?
It's so funny if you can think of the very first couple. It's a great starting line. If you can think of the very first couple of words, the rest of it just goes bleh. So long ago, I can't remember when.
I can't. No, it's not coming. I've got I can hear the guitar bit in the middle.
That's when they say, I lost my only friend. Said she died easy of a broken heart disease.
Nope, of a broken heart disease. There, yep.
Trees.
Okay, I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a good one. Bringing Down the Horse, 1996. The Wallflowers, written by...
That's a cool name for an album.
Jacob Dylan. Yeah, it is cool. And it's a good album and all that stuff.
I don't really know much of them. That was obviously hit, right?
Oh,
obviously
my gosh, yeah.
But I don't know much else of their stuff. I really don't.
That album was pretty big, and they had a trailing, airplay song or two, but they've made... a decent amount. They made a decent amount of music after that, and it's Jacob Dylan, so it's good. It's good stuff. Okay, well that is the set. The end of Prime Twist and Shout, right?
That's right. Which leaves us with a Route 66 to do, I think.
We got to move on from town to town, which is fitting for Route 66. Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
You do you so well, don't you?
I like me, gosh darn.
And I'm good enough.
You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it.
All right, so Route 66, I only have 4 or 5 of these.
Let's do 4.
Okay, let's do 4.
4 each.
All right, your turn to start because I started the last 2.
Okay, you should know at least one, and there are only a couple of towns named in the Who song, Pinball Wizard.
Oh, I'm going to have to play it in my head.
I'll get you started. Ever since I was a young boy.
Yeah, they played the silver ball from Soho down to Brighton.
There you go. Those are the
played
towns.
them all. There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know that your DJ would have
got there eventually.
Much more slowly played it for you.
Yes, and we're trying not to take that long.
And the chorus gets in the way while you're 3 words into the first verse and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, funny your brain
Apparently
does that
your DJ and mine work for the same guy.
Very, very familiar DJ. 1969 from Tommy, written by Pete Townsend, Pinball Wizard. And
I saw that the year it came out, the year the movie came out.
Yeah, I think I did too.
On a double date with my brother.
Oh, cool.
And he was the only one of us that wasn't tripping, and he didn't know that. It wasn't fair to him at all.
Oh, that was the wrong thing to do to him, but the right thing to do to watch the movie.
Yeah, it was definitely a movie that was not better tripping, but experienced well tripping.
Yes, right. What you got?
All right, so you should know more than one location in the song Istanbul.
That's a great thought. I didn't come up with that song. I can't believe I didn't come up with that song.
It's definitely a you kind of song.
Why did Constantinople get the works?
That's nobody's business.
It's nobody's business but the Turks.
So, locations.
Constantinople, Istanbul, of course. Hold on.
There's more.
Even old New York was once New Amsterdam.
And that's all of them, yes.
Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way.
That is,
those guys were so
that
great.
is They Might Be Giants.
Boy.
Doing a tune called Istanbul, or it's also called the Istanbul Song.
Right.
However, it's not their song.
It's a cover.
It's a cover.
It's an old cover.
An old cover. It was originally released in 1953 as a novelty tune.
Right.
Written by Jimmy Kennedy and Nat Simon. The album for They Might Be Giants was 1990, was called Flood.
Yeah.
And I love me some They Might Be Giants. And it's one of those bands, again, that I forget to listen to. But every time a song comes on, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this in forever. I love this song. Every single time.
So great. John and John.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, what I got for you might be a toughie, but I think you should know it. You should know kind of the 2 places referenced in the song Surrender by Cheap Trick.
Well, the Philippines.
Wax in the Philippines, correct.
Let's see. In Indonesia. Right?
Nailed it. Ding, ding, ding. Tell him what he wins, Johnny. I did not think you would get Indonesian junk. Let's going round. Well played. That is Cheap Trick, written by Rick Nielsen, 1976, off of Heaven Tonight. Very
live
enjoyable
album, the Budokan album, that was just so fucking big back then.
I know. It was huge.
And good. And I'm not a big Cheap Trick fan, but man, that live album was just amazing.
It's a very good album, no kidding. Cheap
All right.
Trick Live Budokan. Check it out.
I have 3 left. One of them, which is really easy. The other 2 are a little bit harder, but you personally should definitely know them. How about some lyrics from Dirty Water?
I love that dirty water.
Boom.
Boston, you're my home.
So there's one.
Yeah. And doesn't he say down by the banks of the Mississippi?
No, it's a river, though. It's a river.
What's the river? Does he also say London, you're my home?
No. Well, there are covers.
Yeah, there's a version.
There are other versions that have other towns.
And it names several towns. But
no, it doesn't name several towns. In all the other versions, it's just the city and the river. Like the one that has London, they have the River Thames instead of Thames. Excuse me.
Thames, yeah.
Instead of the river.
Boston. I'm not getting
Charles. The River Charles.
There you go.
That was the Standells in 1955 was when the song was written. Ed Cobb was the guy, and Ed Cobb was a producer for the Standells. And it was written as a screw you kind of to Boston because he'd just gotten mugged, and there's a whole bit in there about the thieves and the whores, or thieves and hookers, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Down by the river, and He'd
Right.
gotten mugged and it was like, oh, I love Boston, kind of a thing.
Right. Boston, you're my home.
It was a single, and then the album was named Dirty Water when they grew off the album.
Right. Right.
Covers include, and I'm not going to put all these in the playlist, I'm just referencing this. Springsteen, the Dropkick Murphys, Mighty Mighty Boss Downs, Weird Al does a cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, from what I could find, none of them
I wonder
actually.
if it's a legit cover or a spoof
I
cover.
think it's a cover.
Huh.
But I mean,
Never knew that.
a legit cover. It doesn't look like any of them have recorded it as on an album. They do them like everybody does it live in their shows.
Right. Right. The version that I am familiar with from radio airplay, I don't think is any of those acts. Maybe the Dropkick Murphys.
No, the one that you know is done by a British band because it was London.
It's a British band.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I didn't record that. I saw that, but I didn't record it.
It's a really cool version. Well, I mean, it's the version that I'm familiar with.
There you go.
And I like it. So of course it's a cool version. I didn't know Springsteen did it though. That's cool.
Yeah, he's one of them that does it like he does it live in a show.
Right, right. Something else to look up. Little wormhole to go down on the internet. It's a cool song. I love the song. Okay, how about this is a little bit of a stretch here. Not what was that? It sounded
It's a
like
large
an
wasp.
airplane
It
just
was a large wasp trying to get in
flew
your ear there.
very near my ear.
We are outside, folks.
Yeah, we are. A little bit of a stretch. How about Tulsa Time?
Living on Tulsa Time.
Yes.
It's not Rycooter. It's a Clapton.
You're close.
Clapton tune, but it's the guy that he did a bunch of his songs.
You know it a lot from Clapton, but it's Don Williams originally wrote it.
Okay, so and now all I'm hearing is "Living on Tulsa Time."
Yeah, the chorus tends to ring around your
and
head.
you know what else is going on is the Eagles, because it's a similar Phoenix, Arizona. It's a similar structure to the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Well, you mentioned one, Arizona. Inadvertently, you got one. California, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Hollywood. Those are the towns named in it. Written by Don Williams, 1978. I thought it was older originally than that.
You know who I was thinking it was J.J. Cale.
That would be a pretty close comparison. The name, I did not investigate this, but Danny Flowers is credited as the writer. Don Williams, the original artist.
Okay.
And I did not see if that's a pseudonym or not. The album, Don Williams' album, was Best Friends, but probably most notable version of it
This
was
Clapton's
Eric
version,
Clapton's version, which is a really enjoyable take on
All right,
the tune.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with this artist or not. I think you are. I'm pretty sure you are, because you tend to go for female artists that have a special voice, a unique sounding voice.
Yeah.
Do you know any lyrics to the song "Anchorage" by Michelle Shock?
Oh my gosh, I should. That's a reach, like a reach back. I haven't heard the name Michelle Shocked in so long. I'm definitely not going to get it.
Okay, it's off her first
she's
album.
not that. Is that late '80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that far.
88,
not that
actually.
far back.
Her first album, Short, Sharp, Shocked,
Yeah.
which is the only album that I had, although there were a couple of others, and I know that one of them was kind of a honky-tonk blues thing that she did, like the whole album was a themed album.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, on this album, the song was Anchorage. The cities would be Dallas, Anchorage, New York, and she mentions Alaska specifically as well, as part of...
Correct, right.
Right. So that would be that one.
As a place. Very cool. And very cool to bring her up.
Yeah.
One of those artists another one of those artists that's like you remember them and you're like, I should be thinking about
that
them
album,
more frequently.
that disc rather, because it was a CD that I had, and
Yeah.
I still have. And most of my media is gone, but there was some stuff that I knew I wouldn't be able to replace. So I kept that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that went on the CD player at least a couple times a week.
Right.
And
Great.
she's really cool. She does some of it's just straight folk, some of it's very country-ish, almost Americana. Some of it's kind of weird and there's one tune that's real punk. And it doesn't show up on the playlist. It's a bonus track that's on the song the album, but it's not listed on the album.
Right. I love that.
Very,
Easter
very
egg.
heavy punk. Anyway,
Very cool.
Michelle Shocked.
Very cool. Okay, so you're next.
I just gave you that one. I just gave you Anchorage. You got your last one here. So it's your turn.
Hey, that's right. And what you are going to have to figure out is towns in the song. Well, towns and places, to be fair, in the song Free Fallin', which the DJ is probably going to have to start playing from the beginning for you to get to it, because I know you know him.
Oh, man.
She's a good girl.
There you go. Thank you. Loves her mama. Loves Jesus and horses, too.
You just skipped one. Loves horses and...
America.
Uh-huh.
America.
Right. America too.
There you go. Crazy about Elvis. What is it? Encino, Ventura Boulevard.
Yes, Ventura Boulevard. And Encino is actually
Reseda. Thank you. That's
Yes.
all I got.
Mulholland. Gonna fly down over Mulholland. Yeah. You got the only other one is the Valley is referenced.
You
so
know,
we know
down
what
in the
it
valley Solo. Sorry.
is. Okay, that was from Tom Petty. Mr. Tom Petty wrote that in 1989. It was released on Full Moon Fever, and that's all the factoids on that and the places that it references. So
we are going to give you a laydown for your final.
for the final challenge,
Yes, you should
I get
know-
to look like a hero.
There you go. I know that you've been struggling a little bit.
I
And
need
you
it.
need
Yeah,
a
I
little
need
pat on the back.
I need the boost.
You should know all of the locations, not necessarily cities or towns,
Okay.
referenced in You Don't Mess Around with Jim.
Oh, on the south side of Chicago, in the baddest part. No, I'm thinking of Bad Leroy Brown.
Yeah, shame on you.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind.
That's You Don't Mess Around with Jim.
Pull the mask of the old Lone Ranger. You don't mess around with Jim. And you know it just happened in my head.
Yeah.
Not Bad Leroy Brown. Nope. I'm totally consumed by Bad Leroy Brown. Stands about 6'4". That's Leroy Brown.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Uptown got its hustlers.
No.
That's the start.
Downtown's got pancake
Bowery
shops.
got its bums. 42nd Street has Big Jim Walker. And that's 3 of the 4.
I'm not gonna. I got nothing. I
And
got
out
nothing.
of South Alabama come a country boy.
There you go.
That's Slim, who fucks up Jim.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm really sorry. I thought that was going to be a...
country boy. I just heard it.
Yeah, there you go.
The song would not turn on. It just wouldn't turn on.
Fire the DJ.
Oh my gosh.
So written by
Ridiculous.
Jim Croce, performed by Jim Croce from 1972. It was first a single, and then they built the album around it. The album was called Don't Mess Around with Jim.
Yeah, nice.
And that is the end of Route 66.
And I think all we had in the tank for this episode.
Yes, and we managed to make it in under 37 hours on this one.
That's all we had planned. So we'll
but
take advantage.
There is something that you forgot to say that you need to fill us in on.
I'm sorry.
Well, that you should be saying all the time. No, there's you have a cause.
I do have a cause. Donate to Wikipedia, donate to Wikipedia, donate to Wikipedia.
He
Because
only gets 3 per episode. So
did you or did you not, in some way, shape, or form, reference some Wikipedia information, or even when you were putting this together, just go to Wikipedia out of curiosity on something?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just because we use them, but because it's real information without a lot of BS in it.
They are a legit repository. You know, sometimes I think of a sci-fi premise in the future when people are trying to figure out what mankind was about and what is going to be more substantive than Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying? It is the library of what's happened in the world, the big central
It really is amazing.
electronic, digital,
Yeah.
admittedly, library.
Yeah, it really is amazing how little I find that they don't have
Right.
when I'm looking for anything.
Right.
Not just stuff for the episode, for anything.
And I do think it's important, and I will admit and apologize 100% that I don't say enough. Thank you and appreciation also to things like Lyric Genius and AZ Lyrics and things like that, which I reference as well, and some other specialty websites, like how many websites are there built by devotees of the Beatles alone?
Or other bands or whatever.
That
yeah.
I do, as I'm, culling through what shows up in an internet search for information, I'll pop in and I'll look and maybe even find something that wasn't on the Wikipedia page, or I didn't look far enough down, or click a link through
Right.
the Wikipedia and get trapped in a wormhole. So I do want to give props to the other people that we resource, that we rely on out there, who are holding these kinds of stores, but it's inarguable that none of them is the collection.
Well,
that
and the
Wikipedia
other
is.
thing that's frankly more important to me is that Wikipedia is not about what we do. Wikipedia is about real, accurate information. And that doesn't mean that everything on Wikipedia is real or accurate. But there's a very concerted effort to stay not corporate driven,
Right.
to stay
not corporate driven, and to stay not politically or otherwise biased.
right.
In
They
their
really
factuality.
try to just this is what we know to be true.
Right.
And
Here-
there's
and
not a
here's
lot of that in the world
documentation.
anymore, dude.
Right.
I mean,
here's documentation reference. Here's factual reference. Here's
and when they have limited information, they're accurate. I mean, they report it. It says that this needs more citations. This hasn't.
absolutely
Right.
So please.
Anyway, bear in mind.
Please build on it.
Yeah,
So,
they need to be
thanks
supported.
to a lot of we stand on the shoulders of giants.
There you go.
As it were, which we're certainly not that lofty, but the phrase is
Yes, it's the truth.
other people have allowed us to fact check
Yes,
ourselves.
imagine trying to do this in
get
1977. It wouldn't be happening.
Oh my gosh. That,
Even if there was such a thing as a podcast then.
And that briefly reminds me of the thought that isn't all that novel. When we recently traveled to the UP and lost, cell coverage repeatedly for long durations of time and what have you, and relied on some GPS and whatever, I was reminded of not so long ago being in the back of the station wagon, literally like some nostalgic movie, with my siblings and a fold-up map. And there was no making a reservation at a hotel in advance. You didn't know what the hotel was in the town you're going to or whatever. It was unbelievably barbaric, and it was so much fun. And it's hard to imagine that. Think about going on a trip right now,
that way. Yeah.
packing all kinds of shit,
Right.
and never using your phone.
Not knowing what the weather was going to be,
right.
not knowing what the traffic was going to be.
You're going out of state or even out of your county. You don't get to look in the phone book for what hotels are in the area.
Right.
You don't get to pop up Google.
Right.
None of that. You are going. You're loading up the car and you're going.
That's what we did.
And you find out what is there when you get there. What?
Yeah.
So cool. Anyway, okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
And listening to old men ramble.
Yeah. I just think it
is. You're right. It is an amazing.
It's one of those things like think about, using a phone book and whatever, or you didn't have even CDs. The only thing you had was to turn the dial on the radio. Those are all cool, but you didn't put your life at risk.
Right.
With those, like, people packed up the family.
Yeah.
And just drove in a direction with a fold-up map.
Right. And then argued over which way to go and how to fold the map.
Right. So ridiculous to think about. Anyway.
Yes. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us. This is You Should Know This Song, and we are Mixed Apes.
Race and Reid, and you are Mixed Apes also. For tuning in, you are permanently tattooed, so get used to it. Thanks for tuning in.
We're out.
Peace.